Grandpa gets executed. It's just out of nowhere. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm just saying that it does feel out of nowhere though. Like I'm watching the episode, suddenly Eris like, oh, Grandpa is gonna be so proud. You know, Ghislaine's gonna love us. We've been so good at this. And then it goes back to Grandpa, and the Grandpa's there with the king and all the nobles, right? And they're like, oh, he clearly betrayed us. Yeah, let's kill him. And it's dead. And it's like, okay, so. Yeah, as an anime only, I really don't have much context to this, right? I don't understand really why he got killed. Or I mean, I understand it generally, that of course he went against the crown, speak, right? But I don't understand, you know, really why, what he has been, I'll say it, how it happened to this, right? So I wonder if it's gonna start. I wonder if it's gonna start like a side story now, or not a side story, but a story B kind of perspective. Where we're gonna follow Rudeus and Eris, alright, on their adventure, and then we're also gonna follow their family members on, you know, back at home, right? This happens there. But what I think, I don't think we're gonna do that. I'm just gonna throw it out here to mention the reaction part. I think this generally, just at average, right, it generally means that when they come back home, everything is gonna be ruined, right? They're gonna come back home, and their man-shammed, right, and their parents, and everyone is gonna be like in jail or been killed, or so that's probably what it means, right? So when they finally return back home, they're gonna have to of course go and free their parents, right, and whatever, that kind of stuff, right? That's probably what this means. They're gonna have to of course, how say it, you know, prove their innocence, something, right? Prove that Grandpa was innocent and that stuff. This guy looks so stereotypical bad guy in this kind of noble fantasy, right? He even has the mustache. I'm just waiting for him to do like, yes, grey rat, I got you now. I'm just waiting for him to do the mustache twirling. Yeah, he has the mustache to do it, right? Yes, yes, the mouth thing there is basically shaping into a mustache. But okay, so this guy is probably behind, and he's definitely part of why Grandpa was wrongfully convicted, right? Certainly so. Certainly so. Look at his face. Anyway, let's talk about Rudeus being a hero. But yeah, first minutes there, or sorry, last minutes there. He's finally like, I'm also a hero now. So, I think it's a great scene. Because of course, Rudeus always struggles. That's the last review, right? Rudeus always struggles with being a hero. And that's why he's a great character, which is a very grey zone character. Because he clearly is a good person. Rudeus is a, you know, he's an obviously good person, right? But being a good person and always doing the right thing, it's not the same thing, of course. And then being a good person and then also having the guts or the bravado to act, it's also a different thing entirely, right? So, like if you look at society at large, I think one good point is the bystander effects we probably heard about. Bystander effect, of course, being that if you have a lot of people seeing like an accident or whatever, right? The more people that are there, fewer people are gonna interact, right, and do something, because they're like, oh no, maybe that over there can save them or something, you know what I mean? So the bystander effect is that if basically, I think it's pretty obvious why, because let's say that you're out walking, right, and this old lady trips in front of you, and you're the only person there. You're probably gonna help her, right? Because you're like, who else is gonna have this old lady? She's falling down here. There's no one else can do it, right? But there's like 1,000 people there, and she falls down. You're gonna be like, well, I mean, why can't someone? That guy is standing closer to her, and that woman over there, she's pretty close, you know. Yeah, then you're expecting someone else to do it, right? So the bystander effects make people, you know, yeah, do rescue people less, right? The more people you're there, right? There's other issues too. For example, that people are most people are very, very afraid of being embarrassed. So the more people that are there, people feel the fear of being embarrassed. So you rather do nothing, and so on, right? Kind of egoistic and so on, right? And then, but of course, the Rudeus case is more like he has that effect of slightly bystander, but also a little bit of, you know, like, oh no, if I do something, I get in trouble, you know, I might get damaged, right? I might get hurt. So he's always like dealing with that. He's still a good person, but it's not, you know, like he's not obsessed, right, being a hero there. He's not really willing to maybe endanger himself to some extent, right? But here now he is, right. So this is obviously a good, you know, character moment for Rudeus. He goes a little bit from being arguably then too selfish, focusing on only saving him and his friends, right? And then he sees this girl getting Arden killed, right? She gets, you know, yeah, in that episode in prison. And now he sees these other girls, like her cousins or whatever, right? Getting the same kind of thing, getting kidnapped and getting enslaved and so on, right? So he's like, no, not this time. This time I will save them, right? Yeah, seeing all these girls crying, right? And this time I will be a hero. So it's a good character moment for him if it's consistent, I suppose. If he goes back next episode to be the same kind of indecisive, maybe I should interact with them, maybe I should do something. If he goes back to being that again, yeah, you know, it depends on the context, of course. Here is a larger village being attacked, so it's hard not to want to save them. But still, though, like I would hope that he's going into becoming more heroic, so to speak, right? Because that would be, of course, character development, right? Going from being a little more selfish, and then he sees this girl getting, you know, killed that episode, right? And now he sees all the girls crying, and he's like, this time I will save them. Not again. This time I will save them, right? So he kind of goes from like a little more decisive. Because of course the difference here is that for his personal sake, the difference is that he's endangering himself, right? So by saving these girls here, because he could of course just left, right? He could have taken his kawaii and just brought them, yeah. So by saving them, of course, he's putting himself in danger, right? And that's kind of the thing. He wants to be a good person, but he doesn't want to put himself in danger that much, right? So that's kind of why he's a good gray zone character, because he's not you know, obsessed with doing the good thing all the time, but he wants to be a good guy, right? So he's kind of like a, I guess as people call him, I guess like maybe neutral good something, maybe got the good. He probably deep down is got the good though, as an alignment. He's a little afraid, right? Yeah. But for example, he wouldn't be lawful good because he's not like obsessed by doing what is right. He's like, he's ready. That guy, he was, again, I keep saying it, honestly, but I don't know, I did not expect him to be this competent, right? Because, so they attack him, he throws the girl at them, right? The girl is kidnapped, they of course grab her, and then he stabs them, and then takes it back. Yeah, I was like, what's he doing? I think that scene was brilliant, because then he threw her at them, right? Again, yeah, and then of course, like, almost kills the guy, and then he re-kidnaps her. Like, you very rarely do you see the kidnapper guy being able to do that kind of flippy trick, right? When he uses the kidnapped victim as a weapon, yeah, and then retakes her back. It's like, it's like, that's... So he was really good. Honestly, this was a very, very competent bad guy. And then, you know, one thing I like is anime, even though they don't have that many bad guys, but yeah, it's always that anime feels very real, right? As I mentioned last week, very real, very brutal. And this again feels like, yeah, I like it. I like that the bad guy isn't just a incompetent buffoon, right? I guess I'm so used to seeing the bad guys being terrible at the job that he will just like throw away the hostage and then be killed, right? This guy threw her away as a weapon and then reused her, right? So he was thinking way ahead of time. So I really love, honestly, I really loved it. I got really excited during the action, but I was like, I really love this shit. This is one thing that I just really love, right? Not just anime, but just competent bad guys. You know, I just really love having the bad guy actually being competent and actually being adept at what they're doing, right? Even if he lost later and so on, he put up a fight. And then when Rudeus later like kind of kills him with his laser beam kind of thing, whatever, right? You feel like Rudeus actually defeated a strong bad guy, so the victory also feels more real because the bad guy did his best to not lose, right? So many other animes, of course, here, but most other animes, I would argue for, honestly, has too much plot drama, right? Where the good guy just wins because the plot wasn't to win. Sure, of course, he wins here, and you can argue it's plot or because it's OP or whatever, but, you know, because the bad guy, again, then, really did everything he could, and he kind of owned the other one. He kind of kicked their ass, right? Like it is here, he kind of just kicked this guy's ass, took back the girl and so on, right? You actually respect the bad guy. At least someone respect him as a skilled bad guy, right? You don't respect him for he's a slave trader, but you respect him for being like, you know what? If you know, I don't like slave traders, but he's a pretty good slave trader at least. He's good at his job at least, yeah, you know? So, it feels organic, I suppose, organic growth that Rudeus wins. Because he wins by maximizing his abilities, and this guy's also doing his best to win, right? And again, then, too many other animes, and also the anime, but live action, right? The good guy is like, I can do this thing, and the bad guy is like, well, I could teleport, but I forgot about that. You know, how many shows haven't you seen where the bad guy has like 10 powers, but they stop using them in the mid, you know? But so, you know, sorry for the bad image, but So in this image here, it's like really fortunate, right? Rudeus has read his body correctly with his power, but he kind of has like a hidden knife. He kind of throws a knife. It's hard to see, of course, but there's a knife flying there, right, in the foresight. So again, yeah, this is like a really good bad guy, and I mean good as in competent. But yeah, he's a very competent bad guy. So even if Rudeus can predict his behavior and predict his manner, kind of Sharingan style, he managed to like still hit Rudeus because he's like, I had a hidden knife in my knee socket kind of thing, right? And like, yeah, so this bad guy was really good. But I guess I mentioned the good part, of course, the best part of it is that it comes back to that you actually like and you believe that Rudeus won, right? Kind of fair and square. I didn't mean by plot armor. Right? Plot armor is kind of where the bad guy just AFKs, right? Plot armor is where the bad guy should actually win, but doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? And then you don't feel that the good guy actually is either earning his victory or growing towards victory. So again, this is again when Mushoku Tensei excels. Mushoku Tensei is much better than most of the anime, especially this year. Much better. I think people see my channel, you know what anime I'm talking about, they have very opposite of this usually. Ishan! Oppai lady! Yeah, you know, but it's the dog being like, yeah. So, this huge dog, right, man's best friend, if he doesn't join the party now, I'm gonna be so disappointed. I kept hoping during the reaction that Ghislaine was gonna appear. I was like, Ghislaine, give me my waifu! Like, someone's gonna come and save me! Give me my waifu, right? Instead, it's the... Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's the man's best friend, right? Second best thing to have after the waifu. A cute dog instead appears. But, I mean, I would be incredibly surprised now if they don't take the dog with them. That would be so weird to me. This dog clearly loves Rudeus. He saved the dog from prison, right, last episode. And now the dog, of course, helped him fight there. And it's basically like a gigantic dog, more or less, right? He has some more powers he has too, but mostly it's a gigantic dog. He can tank for Rudeus, because he's like a big dog he can tank, right? And, you know, the dog is clearly pretty strong, and he could avoid the attacks, he could bite the sword and so on. So it's like a skilled dog, right? And one thing I'm thinking about, because, as I always say, I'm a... you know, I love games, right? I play every game ever, basically. You know, but I work with games for many years, right? And what I do, the genre I always come back to loving is, of course, JRPGs, right? And one reason why I like isekais and other similar animes is because they're very much based, right, on the JRPG. They're very much based, you know, on the Japanese role-playing game. I have one, let's go next to us here, you know, whatever, right? I have, you know, Nier in front of me here, right? And so on, you know what I mean? And in the JRPG franchise, or I mean the genre and the franchise, like fantasy, whatever, you almost always do get a dog, right? No, but like if you don't get a dog, you get some, you know, you always have this kind of animal thing, right? So if you play something like this is Suikoden, where you have 108 characters, you have a flying squirrel, you have a unicorn, you have a wolf, you have everything, you know, in between, right? Because there's so many characters in those games. And I don't know, like in Breath of Fire, you have Pekko. He's like a plant guy. He's like a living plant that can't speak. So he's kind of like, you know, kind of like a pet, right? And in Breath of Fire 4, you have the little robot that can't talk either, you know. So obviously it might be like a little mecha that can't communicate or whatever, a little robot thing or something. But I think people know what I mean. Right? It's very common in the JRPG games in this genre, right? Of course, very popular and also much what it is kind of based on, with the levels and everything, right? That you have, like, you know, you have your human character, you have your elf waifu, right? Or some kind of foxy waifu, like, you know, Ghislaine. You have your strong best friend, you know, you're the muscular top big friend, right? Very common guy. And then you have, of course, the cute, sexy, you know, friend like Eris, right? And then eventually you have to fight a dog or, you know, a cat or something, right? Then it's just how they're always the party of five. It's how they're presented, right? For example, I have one Bleach poster behind me here. Bleach follows that to a key, right? So Bleach, spoilers here for Bleach then, spoilers for Bleach. You have Ichigo, typical, you know, main character, right? Team Rudeus. Then you have, of course, Sado. He's the big muscular friend, right? You need to have that guy, right? You need to have the big muscular friend. Very common, right? Then you have Urahime and Ruka, the boobs, right? Yeah, you have boobs and boobs, so yeah. So you have, you know, the skirts, right? You have some waifus there. And then you have the cat, which I won't spoil too much of. You have the cat, right? Yeah. You get the very cute cat girl, right? The cat that can talk, yeah. Like, you need to have that, right? Then you have the weird scientist Urika, and you also have the rival, of course, Ishida. So But this anime now, because now of course he gets a dog, right? He gets a cat. Again, like this very, very party thing, right? Adventure party. You need to pick up your animal, right? They can't really talk usually. So he picks up a huge dog. Okay, fine. What he lacks now, though, he lacks the rival, right? Yeah, that I guess what Rudeus lacks. He lacks to pick up someone that's like, because he has the girl in his own age, right? Typical, waifu, true love interest. He got Ghislaine later, of course, which is the MILF love, the MILF waifu, the classic huge oppa waifu, right? That's not the true love interest, but just there kind of for flirt, right? Yeah. He got the big best friend and so on. Got the animal now. So honestly, if the anime is gonna follow that classic rule of party, he needs to pick up a rival. The kawaii guy is too much of like senpai, he's too much of like a kind of a temporary friendly guy. So honestly, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Rudeus has to pick up a new party member eventually. That's gonna be more, I guess, antagonistic, right? He's Ishida. Oh, I'm stronger than you. I still kinda like you. He's Lao 10 or whatever, yeah. He's Vegeta, right? He needs to pick up a guy that's a little bit like, I will be better than you, Kakarot. He needs to pick up his own rival, I guess. Yeah, the adventure party isn't complete if he doesn't have a rival. He has the dog now, he has the animal party member, right? And the last thing he needs is the rival. He needs to find a guy that keeps telling him that he's better than him, and they keep, competing against that. And then, of course, this guy actually loves Rudeus. He's gonna sundry him. It's gonna be Vegeta, like, Kakarot, I don't like you or anything, except when you say my wife is so, but still don't like you or anything. He needs to have a sundra, rival, right? And it could be either gender, right? It could be a cute girl. As Eris, to some extent, feels it a little bit. I will admit, she's kind of a little bit sundra and so on, so she of course kind of feels out a little bit of the rival role, but I think she has moved far away from that now. During the adventure drive, she was more sundra before, now she loves him, right? She's a little, yeah, so she's not enough, I feel, of like, I'm gonna be better than you with Maddie. I guess what he lacks in that sense, probably, is that he needs like a magician enemy, or like, antagonistic friend, right? Because the order of them are mostly melee characters, so Eris and Ghislaine and so on, they're feeling, like a physical role in the party, right? The dog's also physical, so he needs to basically pick up like probably a man, but otherwise a cute girl that is like really into Maddie. And Roxy would make sense because she's at the sensor, right? So Roxy won't fit it. It needs to be like some kind of antagonistic mage character. That would be my guess. I'm just throwing it out there. If the anime is gonna keep following the typical JRPG part system, he needs to pick up, another mage that is like, kind of hates him, but actually kind of loves him, He needs to pick up that kind of best friend, maybe. Depending on if it's a guy, it's gonna be, they're actually bromancing, right? But otherwise they're actually best friends. If it's a woman, it could be Sundra. So that probably would be Eris then. So it's probably gonna be a male character then, because we already have a female Sundra, right? But anyway, that's the review. What do you think? Party of 5? The dog clearly has to be party of his, needs to join the party, right? No, but I will be, everything I said, of course, will completely shatter if the dog doesn't join, I guess. Then my whole theory of the next party member being like a male boy magician is gonna like completely shatter, right, if the dog doesn't join now. But come on, if the dog doesn't join, I don't know what the anime is doing. This dog is like, half the episode is the dog saving him, so I have an incredibly hard time seeing them not taking their cute animal with them, right? Like, what else would happen? Like, this is like the textbook case where you pick up the very useful tanky animal and help you on your adventure, right? I will be very, very surprised if doesn't join them. But anyway, guys, last day I say here, no Demon Slayer today, right? I mean, I have, I watched it last week, Demon Slayer today, if you don't know, it's just the movie, right? Disappointing, I think very much so. They're just redoing the movie, so I'm not gonna watch it because I've already seen the movie. I think most people have seen the movie, right? Yeah, so I get back at doing like Demon Slayer reviews and reactions and so on in, I guess, 2 months from now, right? Roughly when the movie's over. I did watch it last week though, and it was fine, random episode, but it was definitely felt very filler. It's kind of on the side story of him, right? Don't really do with the main story. So I'm looking forward to Demon Slayer, of course, coming back in December when it actually returns. Then I will obviously watch it when it's actually back with the, after the movie, right? The continuation story. But I see you guys and have a great day. And of course, I'm frozen, I can turn off. I'm trying to turn off the stream. Come on, stream. Here we go. So you guys and have a great day.